Hey guys, welcome back to Ashire Books. So today I wanted to film part 1 of my August wrap-up. I want to try doing kind of a 2-part wrap-up for each month because typically in a typical month I generally read around like 9 or 10 books at least in a month, and so I think it's gonna be just like a lot to get into one video without me kind of rushing along. And I'm thinking if I divide it in half and do one around the middle of the month and then one at the end of the month, I'll be able to talk a lot more and a lot more in depth about what the books are about, as well as kind of my feelings on the books. So I'm gonna try this out. Let me know what you guys think. If you like it or if you don't like it, just let me know. So let's go ahead and get started. The first series that I have to talk about that I read this month is the Natural series, and I don't actually own the first book, but I do own the second two, which is All In and Killer Instinct. I do own the fourth book, but I haven't read it yet. So I read the first 3 in August, and I absolutely love them. So they are basically mysteries, and it's kind of like Criminal Minds, but YA. I've talked about them in a couple of my other videos. And they're so good. If you guys like the TV show Criminal Minds, or if you like any kind of like mystery, but something that's more like mind games, like more psychological thrillers, definitely check out this series. The Naturals, All In, and Killer Instinct, although I think it's Killer Instinct and All In that way. And then the last one's is the 4th one, and I haven't read that one quite yet. I don't want it to end, so that's why I haven't read it yet, but I'm gonna read it really soon. It follows a girl named Cassie who basically in the first book is approached by the FBI to kind of join this force that they're kind of creating that is going to be a group of teenagers who have skills that the FBI likes or that would be useful to them, such as profiling, lie detector, emotional reader, and it's about her and this group of kids, and it's all kind of tied in to her mother who passed away and was murdered when she was a child. So it's so good, it's so thrilling. The books fly by. I read most of these in a sitting, and I gave all of these 5 out of 5 stars. So the next book I read in August was To Crown a Beast. Whoops. Come on. To Crown a Beast by R. Scarlett. This is the last book, the 4th book in the Black is Gold series, and it was so good. I can't really say too much about it because it was the last book in the series, but I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. If you guys want a paranormal romance that's just really unique and really different, definitely check this one out. It is a little bit on the steamier side, so be aware of that, but it was really, really good. And it was just, I'm so sad to see these characters go, but it wraps up their stories, and it was such a beautiful ending. I absolutely adored it, and I loved it. The next book I read was Fractured Love by Ella James. This one I just kind of found randomly. I think it was cheap on Kindle. I think it had come out, so it was on a special deal for $1, and I just thought I'd take a chance on it, but I really enjoyed it. I think I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. It's about a girl and a guy who meet when they're really young because the guy becomes her foster brother, and they're teenagers when they meet, and there's kind of a bit of a romance when they're younger, a bit of a like forbidden romance, because I mean they're not supposed to be dating because they are living together, as siblings. It was so good. So then it flashes forward and you see them, I think it's 10 years later. Something happens when they're teenagers so that they don't see each other for about 10 years. It's probably a little bit less than 10 years. They're both in medical school and they're both interns. So they finish medical school and they're finally interns in the same city, and it's just a really pretty love story. It was definitely heart-wrenching. There were some really tough, just like emotional things in this one that definitely had me like tearing up a little bit, but it was really good. If you're looking for like a good, solid kind of like heart-wrenching, a bit of like a forbidden romance, but then they come together, and in the end, it was really good. Definitely check this out. I haven't read anything else by this author, but I definitely will check it out now because the writing was great. I loved the characters. I thought the characters were really well developed, and you really got to know and understand it. Even when they were doing things that you kind of were thinking, why are you doing that? Like, that's stupid. You kind of understood why they were doing it at the same time. So definitely check this one out if you're into kind of a more forbidden romance. So the next book I read was My Lady Jane by and Ashton and Meadows. I can't remember their first names. This one doesn't have its just jacket because I borrowed it from a friend and I finally read it. I've had this book hostage for like probably a year now and I just couldn't get around to reading it, but it was really, really sweet. If you don't know, this one was really big a few months ago when it came out last year. My Lady Jane is about Jane. So she is in history, but you only see a little glimpse of her because she only reigns in England for, I think it's like a day or two. It's like 3 days maybe. And so you don't really know much about her, and these authors, this is such a fun like satirical look at history, and I love how throughout this book the authors kind of intersperse their opinions throughout history, and they kind of say, oh, you like history? Well, I'm gonna turn it on its head. And if you like history but you want something a little bit more lighthearted, a little more fun, something kind of almost making fun of itself, definitely check out My Lady Jane. It was really fun. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. The only reason I didn't give it 5 out of 5 because it was really funny. It's really sweet. I loved Jane and the love interest, Gifford, and I really, really liked them. The only reason I didn't give it 5 out of 5 stars was for some reason I had a hard time picking this one up. So I'd started it and then I put it down for like 3 or 4 days. And then I'd pick it up and I'm like, oh, this is great. And then I'd put it back down. So it wasn't gripping enough to like make me want to keep reading it, but it was really good. So definitely check this one out too. And the last book that I've read so far in August is Royally Endowed by Emma Chase. So this one is the 3rd book in her, I think it's Royally series. And this one was so good, you guys. This was maybe my favorite in the series. If you love anything to do with royalty, you guys know I like that. I put a royalty recommendation video up. If you guys want to check that out, definitely do so if you like something about royalty yourself. But this book follows Olivia, who's the character from the first book's younger sister, Ellie. And Ellie is living in New York still, where Olivia is from, and it starts off when she's young. She's only 18 when the book starts, and it is about her, and because she's being left in New York alone, Olivia wants her to have someone with her, and so Logan is one of the bodyguards that's kind of left in New York to take care of Ellie, just kind of watch out for her. Obviously, you might know, it kind of develops more than just a friendship, but what I loved about this story was that the friendship was a really good friendship for a long time before anything romantic ever happened. There's a bit of an age gap, not much. I think he's 4 years older than her, but you saw years go by with them being friends, and you saw that kind of spark there, but they didn't really do anything about it. You know, they lived their lives, they were really good friends, they stayed in touch, and you just saw it kind of develop until finally it just like was the perfect moment, the perfect time. And I just love these two characters. Logan is the bodyguard. He definitely came from kind of the poorer side of the town. He came from like the rougher side, but he's definitely made something of himself, and he's such a good person is the only way I can think of it. He protects people. Even when he shouldn't, he's looking out for people. It's almost to a fault. But he's such a caring person. I absolutely loved him. He was so sweet with Ellie. And Ellie is such a ray of like sunshine. She has this saying that she's gonna suck the lemon. She wants to like basically suck everything that life can give her. And I like that. I think it's fun, and that definitely epitomizes her character. She's very fun. She's got like rainbow colored hair for most of the book, and I just think she's so sweet, and she's definitely a free spirit, but I like that they made her a free spirit that was also smart. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but like I liked the contradiction of her being valid Victorian and also a very free-spirited person, because I think often authors kind of pigeonhole people, and they have to be either like straight-laced and A student or like a free spirit and a bad student. Like you can be both. So I really love that about her. If you guys haven't yet, check out this series by Emma Chase. It's funny, it's sweet, and I loved it. Okay guys, so those are all of the books I've read thus far in August. I think that was 7 books I've read so far, so we'll see how many more I read. So I'll be back to do the second half of my wrap-up in a couple of weeks. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.